Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unboxed. I'm so glad that you're joining us today. Great leaders, and you already knew this, great leaders are great listeners. The eighth sign of emotional maturity is sharing your thoughts and beliefs and hearing others without becoming defensive or argumentative. Stick around as we unbox your leadership by unboxing your relationships. I'm Dr. Robert Davis, family life educator and relationship coach. And welcome to Unboxed, a frank and straightforward conversation about relationships. We're going to talk about family, church, workplace, and all other types of relationships. Join me for the next few moments as we unbox the power and potential of relationships and help you to live your best life. All right. Welcome. Glad to have you join us today on Unboxed. Do me a favor before we get started. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. That's right, like, subscribe, and share. Hit the notification button. That way you can know every time that we're going on live. And if you're listening to this via podcast, the website is www.swg-unboxed.org. That's swg-unboxed.org. Again, the eighth sign that we're going to talk about today, the eighth sign of emotional maturity, is sharing your thoughts and beliefs and hearing others without becoming defensive or argumentative. There is a large section of leadership material that discusses how to become a better listener, especially as relates to leadership. And here's the problem that I have found with these various approaches. Are you ready? And it is that it focuses on listening as a skill to lead people. I know that kind of sounds, what? Well, if it's about leadership, shouldn't it be about leading people? Yeah, I get you. It focuses on listening as a skill for leadership. Once again, if you are learning any skill for the sake of another, that's what we call other focused. And when you do it that way, you cannot reach the heights of emotional maturity. Since I literally wrote a dissertation and a book on communication, that's right, I wrote this book. It's called Seasoned with Grace, God's Recipe for Healthy Family Communication. You can get a copy of it at Amazon.com. There you go. I literally wrote my dissertation and I literally wrote a book on communication. So I think that I have a little insight on the subject. Communication, and this is what I've discovered, and this is what I share. Communication shows us a lot about ourselves and how we manage ourselves in relationships. And I want to use an expression to describe what type of listening I'm going to be addressing tonight. It's called authentic listening. Authentic listening. You should be familiar with it because I talk a lot about authentic leadership. I'm going to talk about authentic listening. Authentic listening is the ability to hear what others are saying for the sake of hearing what others are saying. I'm going to unpack that. I'm going to unbox that for you, all right? Often we listen for the sake of understanding what the other person wants so we can meet that need more effectively. Sometimes we listen so we can understand their position, their beliefs, or whatever it is, in order to more effectively formulate and communicate our rebuttal. Other times we listen so we can demonstrate how much we care to the other person. There is nothing wrong with any one of those reasons for listening. And I just kind of condensed the various approaches to listening that you'll find in different leadership materials. However, each of those reasons are what I refer to as other focused. You're listening for the other person, or your listening has something to do with the other person. I am listening for the purpose or for the sake of the other person, or to elevate my position with the other person. What if our listening became more self-focused? What if our listening became more self-focused? Let me say that again. What if our listening became more self-focused? Because on the other hand, authentic listening is for our benefit, to raise our level of awareness and emotional maturity. Authentic listening is utilized during times of anxiety. Now, this is a very important point. Authentic listening is utilized during times of anxiety, conflict, and stress. It is when a leader listens to gain insight into themselves. And whenever you're leading an organization, whenever you're leading a church, whenever you're leading a family, whatever it may be, There's going to be times of conflict. There's going to be times of anxiety. There's going to be times of stress. That's inevitable. And when those times arise, authentic listening opens up a door for us to gain deeper, clearer understandings about ourselves. Because, see, authentic listening shows us three things about ourselves, three simple things. All right. Number one, it shows us how connected we are to others. Another word for that is how fused we are. Because I want you to catch this now. You can determine how fused you are with someone by how much control they have over your emotional reaction. In other words, can they do something that will get a rise out of you? Can they do something that will influence how you feel? And the more power they have to do that, the more fused you are with that person. We had a lot of people the past 4 years who were extremely emotionally fused with President Donald Trump. And for the 8 years before that, we had another group that was extremely emotionally fused with President Obama. And I mean, either one of them could say a word and people just lose it, because that's a lot of emotional fusion. So how emotionally fused are we with others? How connected are we with others? Authentic listening shows us the number two, how fused we are to others. That was number one. Number one, how connected we are to others. Number two, how fused we are to others. And number three, how much anxiety we are bringing into the relationship dynamic. That's what authentic listening is. And I'm going to explain it to you. The bottom line, so that you can get a clearer understanding of what authentic listening is. Authentic listening can only happen when we become thoughtful and aware. So for instance, I noticed that I'm being very anxious, or we're dealing with a very tense or anxious situation. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to listen to the other person, but catch this out. I notice that I'm wanting to convince that person. So we're in a stressful time. I want to convince that person. I want that person to see things from my perspective. And here's what authentic listening will do. By calming, by thinking, and by listening, I begin to ask myself, not what should be my rebuttal to what they're saying, not how can I convince them, not what do they need, that's other focus, but rather, how am I managing my anxiety right now? As I'm listening to them and I'm listening to what they're saying, and I'm tapping into the emotions that it is evoking within me, or the reaction that it is evoking from me, then I can ask myself, how am I managing my anxiety right now? What do I need to do to become more receptive? How can I get into a position where I can listen for the sake of listening, so that I can become more curious and listen for the sake of understanding? Again, authentic listening is employed during times of stress and anxiety. Its goal is to move us from being other-focused to being more self-focused. Active listening helps us understand the other person, but authentic listening helps us to understand ourselves. Authentic listening, and I want to say it again, authentic listening is for the purpose of me becoming clear about how fused I am with the other person. It is about me becoming clear about how connected I am. It helps me to become clear about how much anxiety, because it is me listening for the purpose of asking myself questions. All right, when this person says X, Y, and Z, I noticed that I become very defensive. When this person says X, Y, and Z, I notice that I become argumentative. When this person says X, Y, and Z, I notice that I become combative. What do I need to do to become calmer? How can I remove myself somewhat, have an out-of-body experience here, and listen to what this person is saying as an outside observer for the purpose of becoming clearer about who I am and what I want to be? Are you understanding the difference now between active listening? How can I get these people to buy into my dream? How do I hear more of what they want so that I can organize so that I can, manage and organize the organization in a way that will, evoke the most productivity versus how can I just listen because I want to understand myself? Again, the eighth sign of emotional maturity is sharing your thoughts and beliefs and hearing others without becoming defensive or argumentative. I'll pick up more in depth on this the next time. So continue to unbox your leadership by unboxing relationships. Take care.
Seasoned with Grace, Unboxed also provides healthy relationship training and leadership development for businesses, churches, and community organizations. For a free consultation to discuss your team's needs, please contact us at our website at swg-unboxed.org. That's swg-unboxed.org.